Hello, welcome to Generation Exit, training number 3. I see some new faces in the room. I'm very excited for this evening's training. If you are watching the replay, or if you're here live, where you can find all the materials for the replays, for the trainings, for the homework sessions, everything is in the We Rise Facebook group. You're going to navigate to the guide section, and everything will be there for you to binge watch or consume at your own leisure. So it will be there forever, and you guys have access to it. Training 3. So yesterday, training 2 was a big one. And you guys were asked to really go back to the beginning of when you first started making decisions in your life, as little adults, right? The first decisions that you made to really kickstart your life and your journey thus far. And so I'm curious if you guys want to open up the chat box here, open up the chat feature, and just comment what came up for you. What were the earliest decisions you remember making? What did you realize when you were going through this exercise of writing out your story of all the decisions that you've made to get yourself to this point in time? And then any realizations you might have had. I think yesterday, one of the biggest topics that came through for us and you guys was the topic of responsibility to what you're deciding to do, right? And this was the end. It was the segment 2 of training 2. It was towards the end, and we started talking about responsibility, the responsibility that you have to breaking the chains or to really releasing the chains that you guys are wanting to release. And this is a big deal, right? This is like a next level conversation. And some people might think, oh my gosh, this is too much. This is, not my responsibility. Why me? Right? Why me? Why am I doing this? And the fact is that because you are here, because you're called to this work, because you are in personal development, because you even desire to change things, right? You have to understand that most people don't even desire or realize that there is a pattern in their family or in their generations or in their own lives. Like they just don't even realize it. And so the fact that you've even realized that there's patterns and paradigms to break for yourself and for your family says so much about where you're at in your journey. And so you want to start pondering, if you didn't already, what is my responsibility to really releasing this family pattern, really releasing this pattern for myself, whether it be a relationship pattern in finances, a pattern of keeping yourself small, or maybe, your family has kind of kept themselves small for generations. They haven't really done anything too risky or too outside of the box because they're afraid of what other people think. Like, patterns in a family can be so diverse. There's so many different situations and examples of family patterns. They could have to do with self-worth, right? Just a pattern of hearing your family talk down about themselves can be passed down generationally. The pattern of handling finances poorly can be passed down generationally. The pattern of financial ignorance, just not understanding or knowing what to do with money, can certainly be passed down generationally, right? How we handle relationships and what relationships look like, right? What does a healthy relationship look like? That's passed down generationally. And so you're at this pivotal point of life, this like line in the sand moment of getting to realize everything. Hopefully you've already started to realize the patterns and the chains at this point in the program, and you are now kind of rumbling with them. You're now kind of facing them and contemplating them and thinking about them, maybe for the first time. And so that's where we left off together. Today, what we're going to dive into is now what, right? It's now what? It's rewriting the narrative. Rewriting the narrative. When we become aware of what's going on, right? That's step 1. When we start to understand our responsibility to change it, and that changing it really doesn't only changing it doesn't just look at mindset, right? Changing it looks at taking action and getting uncomfortable, right? With moves, right? Making big moves in order to break patterns. Like it takes courage, right? And now it's okay, well, what is it going to look like? Like, what am I creating moving forward? And this is important because you've got to know why you're doing this, right? You've got to know what, like, why, what is this getting me? Where am I going with this? Because it does take courage and it's not always easy. And there may be where you just want to go back to the normal, or you want to go back to what you've always done before, or what your family's always done before. And on those days, you've got to have a reason why you're doing it. So let's move into talk about what world you're creating. How's my audio? Give me a thumbs up if it's okay. It's fine. It's good. Okay. Let's go into what world you are creating. If you guys have any questions, I'll be answering questions at the end. So just use the chat box feature to ask them live and I'll answer them at the end. So what world are you creating? Like, what are you creating when you've realized the generational patterns in your family, whether they be financial or relational or in communication or in how you treat each other or how you think about yourself or self-worth, whatever the chains that you've realized. Why have these bothered you, right? Why have they bugged you? Why have they ruffled your feathers? What bugs you about them? Maybe you've seen other people or other families who have really healthy dynamics in these areas. Maybe at one point you saw a relationship that you're just like, wow, this is such a solid relationship. It's such a solid um, foundation that they have. I really admire what they have. I really love what they have. Maybe it was a movie that you watched and you're like, that movie, like, I just wish that movie really existed. I wish that fairy tale really existed. Maybe it was a seminar you watched, or it was someone that you met at a personal development event, or it's someone you know and you really admire how they handle life in this way. What are you creating? What do you want the picture to look like? Right? Our subconscious mind operates based off of pictures, based off of emotions. Okay? So you want to start attaching the why, the reason why you're moving forward to something that excites you, to something that gets you going, to something that on the hard days where you're feeling like, oh my gosh, it would just be easier to go back to everything that was normal before. And why do I have to be the one to do this? And I don't want to be responsible for breaking family chains. And what is the thing? What is the story? What is the picture that's going to make you think, no, like this is why I'm doing it, because I believe that this can exist for me too. Right? If it can exist for other people, then it can exist for me. We all live under the same God. We all live under the same world. We all live on the same planet. We all have an intellect. We all have a mind. We can all think. As long as you can think, then you can create. Right? As long as you are a thinker, then you are also a creator. And so if anyone else can create something that you admire, their financial situation, their relationship, the way that they communicate, the way that they have a relationship with their family, the way that they travel, the way that they think, any of those things. Think of it as like a menu, like you're at a restaurant. And when the menu is placed down in front of you, you get to choose what it is that you want. There's no one that tells you what to order. And you want to think of this part of the process as you're just ordering dinner. You're ordering the best dinner you've ever indulged in. And it's, what do you want? What do you want it to look like? And you really want to think about this. And you want to be unapologetic when you think about this. In other words, don't think that what you really want doesn't exist, or that what you really want you're being too picky about. Or that yeah, it's good for them, they can do it, but for me, I don't think I could do this. Like, I've never even been close to something like this. It doesn't matter. It does not matter if you've been close to it. It does not matter if you've never experienced it before. All that you've got to attach to is the picture and the feeling of it. And if you don't know the feeling of it, then you want to be able to see the picture of it and get excited about experiencing it. I was excited about experiencing a relationship with a man who was a leader and led himself and was excited to build a life with me. I was so excited to meet someone like that, to feel the feelings that I would feel when I met that kind of person, even though I had never felt them before. I knew they could exist. I knew I could feel them. In finances, right? I got excited about being a woman who was financially savvy, who understood money coming in, money going out, what to do with money. I didn't know anything at the time that I set the desire, that I set the intention, but I just really wanted it. And I could get excited about becoming that version of myself, even though I had no idea at that time how it was going to happen, or where it was going to come from, or what it was going to look like, or where to even start, or who to even talk to, or where to even go to learn about financial literacy. I had no idea, but I just knew that I needed it and I wanted it. And I was excited about going down that path, going down that journey. What world are you creating? What new normals do you want to create? And you really want to think about this. You really want to think about this. What new normals? Because this isn't like, oh, I'm manifesting a goal. It's a different way, it's a different perspective of creating, different way to create your reality. What do I want to be normal for me? What do I want to be normal for me? Well, I want it to be normal that I always have more than enough money in my bank account. I want it to be normal that I always feel love for myself. I always feel self-respect. I always respect myself. I want it to be normal for me to respect myself and treat myself with kindness. I want it to feel normal that the people around me are on my level and are challenging me to be better. I want that to be normal for me, that I'm always surrounded by really amazing people. I want it to be normal for me that I think really highly of myself versus not so much. I want that to be normal for me. I want it to be normal for me to not gossip or even have friends who gossip, because I don't want that in my life. I don't want that in my reality. I want it to be normal for me. I want it to be weird for me to not understand money. I want it to be weird for me not to be in healthy relationships. I want it to be foreign. I want it to feel crazy to me to be involved in drama or gossip. I want it to feel crazy to me to not love my life. What? I want it to feel crazy for me to not be excited about where I'm going. What? Not excited? This is weird. What's happening? Most people, it's normal for them not to be excited about life, and this makes me sad. Because we're only here like one time, I think. And it's normal for most people not to be excited about what they've got going on in their life. And that really breaks my heart. I could cry right now. Because what are we doing if we're not finding joy out of life? What are we doing? What are we doing if we're not living life the way that we want to live it? What are we doing if we're not growing? What are we doing if we're not evolving? I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing? It's your responsibility to love your life. It's your responsibility to love what you do. And if you don't, find something. It's your responsibility to earn enough money. And if you're not, figure it out. It's your responsibility to know how to handle money. And if you don't know how, YouTube it, search on the internet, ask someone, figure it out. It's your responsibility to figure it out. Like, if we're not living this way, like, what are we doing? You know? What are we really doing? Especially at this level, when you've become aware of what's going on and you know how this stuff works. Are you going to keep creating what you've always been a part of? Or are you going to take a stand and create something different for yourself and your family and the people that watch you and the people that know you and the people that love you? You can be proud of yourself this way for what you've created, for how responsible you've become. What world are you creating? what most people get trapped in, and this is how generational cycles continue and continue and continue and continue, and patterns get passed down over and over and over and over again, is because we are, from a very young age, we learn to interpret life through what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. Okay, so we start to take in life and take in data based off of our five senses. And from the age of about 0 to 6, 7, 8 years old, our brains are not fully functioning. They're not fully formed. And we do not have yet the ability to reason with data. So when we're told something, we don't have the ability at that point to really reason with it and decide to accept or reject the information. So what happens is we just accept and accept and accept and accept because we do not have the mental faculty of reason developed yet, literally. And so when we accept something, it goes directly into our subconscious mind, which really just means below consciousness, right? Think subconscious, below consciousness. And so if it's below consciousness, another word for that would be below your awareness or beneath your awareness. And so at the time of 8, 9, 10 years old, when your reasoning factor does start to develop, now what's happened is you are reasoning and thinking, finally, for the first time, as a little adult, based off of all the data that you unwillingly but willingly accepted from the ages of 0 to 8, 9, 10. And all of that data that you took in during those years is beneath your consciousness. So it's beneath your ability to recall it and know that it's in there. It's like if I say, what's your mom's phone number? You weren't thinking about it until now, but now you can recall it because it's subconscious. You're not always thinking about it, but if I ask you a question, you can tell me. You can recall it, you can remember it. It's subconscious. We're only conscious of what is going on around us right now. What we were actively thinking about, what we were actively working on, what we're actively solving. That's what we're conscious of. It's maybe like 20%. I don't even think that. I think maybe 10% of our lives are conscious. I would say 90% is subconscious, which means like, I would even say 99%. 99% of our lives are spent on autopilot based off of what is beneath our consciousness. What we were told, what we have believed over time and accepted as true for us about money, about love, about finances, about relationships, about confidence, about self-worth, about what we're capable of, about money, about potential, about wealth, about people, about what we can and can't do, what's pretty, ugly, good, bad. All of that, all of those beliefs, all of that data, all of those lies are all beneath your consciousness. And so what most people fall into is the trap of never realizing what is beneath consciousness for them and only ever operating on autopilot. Most people don't even know why they do what they do. They don't even know why they believe what they believe. They don't even know why they act the way that they act or react the way that they react. Because they're 99% on autopilot. This is also where generational patterns live. Generational traumas, generational truths or lies live subconscious, beneath your consciousness. They were handed over to you at a time where you could not accept or reject, and now they are part of how you think, act, and operate every single day without being conscious of it. Are you with me? And so now when we realize we've got this active, moldable present moment, right now, we're in the moment. We are 1% conscious right now in this moment. And what we do with this moment right now can start to rewire what's beneath our consciousness. But we've got to now be strong enough to be able to say, I know that I'm on autopilot. I know that these patterns that I've been recreating, these beliefs, these thoughts that I've been having that don't feel very nice to me are not mine. I know they're just a part of my programming. They're just a part of my lower consciousness that I didn't really even choose for myself. And it's all a lie if it doesn't serve me. It's a lie if it doesn't serve me. If it doesn't serve me and who I want to become, then it's a lie. It's a lie. It is not a truth. True things feel good. True things resonate. True things challenge you, make you better, call you to be more of who you are. Lies make you feel like you can't. Lies make you feel like you're stuck. Lies make you feel like there's no out. Lies make you feel like there's no answers. Lies make you feel like a victim. Lies make you feel like the world is happening to you, not for you. Truth sets you free. Truth awakens you. Truth challenges you. Truth calls you to be more responsible. Some people would rather sleep than do the work. Because once you start becoming conscious of how unconscious 90% of your life is, now you've got to be responsible to changing it. So how do we do it, right? What does the process really look like? When most people live this way and they keep recreating old patterns, what they're doing essentially is they are taking in data. So they're still doing this, right? In adulthood, they're taking in data in their work life, on the scale, their weight on the scale. They're taking in data through their bank account, what's in their bank account and what's not. They're taking data in from their boss at work and their colleagues at work and what's going on in the reality at work. They're taking in data from their spouse, from the conversations that they're having, taking in data from the news, from the media. They're taking in data from what they see when they look in the mirror. And what they get in the habit of doing, I call this the stinking thinking wheel because it stinks really bad. And you don't want to be on this wheel. You don't want to be rotating on this hamster wheel. It's terrible. And so what they do is they take in the data as truth. Weight on the scale, this is who I am. Balance sheet, this is what I'm worth. Income this year, this is all I can ever make. Hard conversation at work, I'm a terrible person. And so they're constantly being bombarded by the results of their current reality. And with the results of that current reality, they're then saying, these things are all true about me. And then they are telling themselves what they can and cannot do based off of that reality. And what happens is they look at their results, right? Their results cause them to have this knee-jerk reaction and feel some type of way about it. They start to feel, they're like, that makes me sad. And they start thinking based off of how they're feeling. I'm terrible, I'm not good, I'm never gonna go anywhere, I should just give up, I'm not good at this, I'm not cut out for this. They're right, I probably can't do it. I'm not the one that's gonna change the things. I'm not gonna earn the money, I just gotta stay small, get a normal job, stop dreaming, stop thinking about it, just be frustrated and keep being frustrated because I don't know how to change this. So it is what it is. And then what happens is those thoughts cause them to take the same actions they've always taken. They don't change anything. They don't hold themselves responsible to changing anything. They don't have any hard conversations, right? They don't sign up for the personal development program. They don't buy the book because what's the point if they're never going to change? And then what happens is they create the same result. So let's go over it one more time. They look at their results in the bank account, on the scale, in their friend group, from the media, the news, the likes on social media, take in the data immediately makes them feel some type of way. Those feelings in their body cause thoughts to resonate in their mind, right? When you see the bank account, what happens first? And if it's not good or a bill comes in, what happens first? You feel something. Doop. Immediate. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's like unconscious. Something's triggered, right? You're triggered by it. And then that trigger registers in your body. You start thinking about it. You start thinking about it. You go down the negative cycle, the thought pattern, and then you end up taking no action or just the same action you've always taken, and then you end up with the same results and the cycle repeats. So it's I look at my results, they make me feel some type of way. I start thinking negative thoughts about them. I start thinking I'm not capable. I'm start thinking that this isn't going to change. I'm never going to change it. I'm never blah, 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 blah. I start thinking the same thoughts that I've always thought my whole entire life. And because of those thoughts, I take no new action because what's the point if I'm not going to go anywhere? And that no new action ends up getting me the same result I've always been in. And the cycle repeats and repeats and repeats and repeats. So the mindset part of breaking a generational pattern or breaking a cycle that you're in is 90 degrees turned, where instead of looking at your results to tell you how to feel and how to think and how to act, what you want to do is start thinking about what you want and where you're going. In other words, you've got to start playing the game of my life is a movie that I'm watching that I create with my thoughts. I create it with my thoughts and then I watch it. And so as you're watching your movie play out, if you don't like any part of it, what do you have to do? You've got to go back up to your thoughts and choose new thinking. So you look at your results, you look at the movie playing on the screen and you say, and instead of thinking the same old way you've always thought about it, you decide to think something different. And this is right now, in the moment, interrupting the pattern. Boom. This isn't a morning routine. This isn't a night routine. This is boom, right now. Do it now. You say, no, I'm going to think differently. I am going to do something about this. I am going to break this chain. I'm not going to, yeah, I know that that's in my bank account, but I know that I can do different. I know that I can create different. I'm committed to being financially savvy. I'm committed to being financially intelligent. I'm committed to being retiring at blah, 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 blah. Whatever the chain is, I'm committed to a loving relationship. I know that that's my result right now, but I'm committed to finding and attracting a loving relationship. I know that's my weight right now, and generationally, my family has struggled with weight, but I'm breaking that. Of course, that's my result right now, but I'm going to choose to think that I can change it instead of just feeling bad about it again and again and again and again and never doing anything about it. You've got to be able to disassociate a little bit with the results that you don't like in your life and stop identifying with them. When something happens in my life that I don't really love, I do not look at it and say, God, this is all my fault. This is me. I did this. This is who I am. I'm a problem. I've got, I can't do this. Why did I ever do any of well, no. I don't do any of that. I know how powerful my thoughts are when mixed with emotion. So I don't throw self-pity parties, at least for too long. I'm like, huh, that's interesting. That's interesting. That's not what I want. But that's what I've got. But okay, but that's not what I want. And so what do I want? Well, I want it to be different. I want it to be like this. I want to earn more money. I want more money in the bank account. I want to be financially savvy. I want to have a good relationship, a healthy relationship. Okay. And then you start thinking and feeling about what is that going to be like? Right? And the new thoughts, they cause new feelings in your body. If you think positive thoughts that you genuinely mean, okay, you can't lie to yourself. It doesn't work like that. You think genuine positive thoughts about where you're going and who you're becoming. You're going to notice that you're going to feel differently about yourself. And those different feelings are going to lead to new action. You're going to be brave. You're going to be courageous because you know that being courageous and brave and making bold moves and holding yourself responsible to this new reality that you want to create for yourself, these new thoughts that you're thinking about. You know you have to be courageous and bold, and so you do take new action because you know that if you don't, nothing's going to change. And so you take new action. And when you take new action, guess what happens? You get different results. You get different results. This is how the 1% of people think. They never look at their results to tell them how to think. They are always thinking on purpose because they know that their thoughts are far too powerful to neglect. Far too powerful. So let's go over it one more through. Instead of thinking based off of your results and what is, you want to start thinking based off of what you want. What world am I creating? This is the question. Yeah, I know that that's my reality right now, but what world do I want to create? I want to create this. 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 I want to create this for myself. Okay, good. What's that going to be like? Well, it's going to be like this. I've seen this person do it, and I've seen this person do it, and I don't know if I can do it, but like I've seen other people, and this is really what I want. Okay, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? How can I do something different that interrupts the pattern? Well, I can cut up my credit cards. I could end the relationship. I could sell some things. I could have a hard conversation with a parent. I could uh, draw up a budget for myself. I could decide to hold myself accountable with positive affirmations and read them 10 times in the morning and 10 times at night. I could do something. It's your responsibility to figure out what to do once you've decided that's what world you want to create. It's not enough to just know what kind of world you want to live in. That's called like La La Land. Well, I've been thinking about it and I've been feeling into it and I have a vision board and I know what I want. That's cute. Are you being courageous and taking bold moves to actually get out there and make it happen? Probably not. Maddie, I've been doing this stuff for so long, affirmations, and like I've got my life scripts and I've got my goal card and I got my vision board and I've got all these things and it's just like not working for me and I don't know why. What are you doing about it? Are you being courageous enough to make the bold move? To make moves, period. To take a new action? Probably not. This is where the whole cycle breaks down for people because they don't take new action. They stay in the habit of always doing what they've been taught to do, and that always gets them the same result they've always gotten. Thinking and feeling is not enough, guys. It's your responsibility to find the courage and freaking figure it out and do it and move forward. Listen, fear, nothing we can do about it. I've got fear. I have fear right now in my business with something that I've decided to do. And now I'm responsible for making it happen. I've got fear. Does that mean I stop moving? No, because I have courage too. Courage is when you feel fear and you move with the fear on your back. And what you'll notice is if you've got fear when you're going to break the pattern and do something differently and step out of your comfort zone and step out of what's normal for your family and generations who have come before you, you're going to notice that it's scary and it feels uncomfortable Guess what? This means expansion. This means you're leveling up. This means, yeah, it's going to take some more responsibility from you. This is what it's like to lead your own life. Welcome to the party. This is a good thing. It's expanding your capacity for life. And it's going to be uncomfortable for a little while. It's going to feel like a stretch for a little while. But soon, it will be your new normal. Soon, it will be your new normal. And then there's going to be a next level where you're going to feel the fear and you're going to want to break another little cycle because you're going to want to crash through the glass ceiling that you've created again and get to the next level, because that's what we do. We live life and we grow. Otherwise, what are we doing? And then you feel the fear that's associated with that and you say, yep, I know we're scared because we've never been here before, and this is scary, and this is a lot, and this feels overwhelming. And yeah, of course it does. Why wouldn't it? We've never done this before. No one in our family has ever done this before. I don't have a mentor guiding me. I don't have a parent saying, yeah, buddy, come this way. Come on. Here's a Cheerio. I don't have a cheerleader team cheering me on. Yeah, that's fine. And you move forward anyway, because we're self-led people and we're responsible for leading ourselves. And that's it. Period. There's no one coming to lead us or guide us. Like, we've got to find it within us to lead ourselves and activate ourselves. What world do you want to create? Once you know what it is, it's your responsibility to find the courage to move forward, even though you've got a little bit of fear. In fact, when you start moving and taking action, even though you're scared, you're going to find that you take one action step and it gets a little less scary. You take another action step, it gets a little less scary. You take the third action step, the picture starts coming together. You start to see the cooperative components coming together and it actually working out. And all of a sudden, your fear turns to excitement. And then you're like, oh my God, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I've got it. I'm breaking the chain. I'm starting something different. I'm going into a new area, uncharted waters. Oh my God, we're going to do this. I'm be so proud of myself. Oh my God, yes, I got this. And then you're going to have moments where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. No one's ever done this before. What if I fail? What if it doesn't work? Oh my God, it's not happening as fast as I thought it was going to happen. What if it never happens? These are normal. And guess what? At that point, we can say to ourselves, yeah, this is overwhelming. Yeah, this is scary. Yeah, we've never been here before. Yeah, we're not sure how it's all going to work out. And let's pick ourselves up. Let's dust ourselves off. And let's take the next action step. Because this is what we do. We find the courage. And we move forward. Because what else is the point? What's the alternative? You could give up. You could give it all. You could give up the world that you want to create. And then what? Go ahead, take yourself there. Then what? Go back to normal everything and be frustrated with life until you croak? That's the alternative. If you want that, it's available. I don't know about you, but I don't really want that. So I'm willing to find the courage and move. It's your responsibility to the world that you want to create to find the courage and to move. This is also a next level conversation, a next level topic, because you've got to not only figure out the world that you're wanting to create and hold yourself responsible to that, but you've got to become someone that's courageous and confident, because you know how to lead yourself. And you don't allow results to hold you back, and you don't allow results to get you down because you know too much. You know how the creative cycle works. You know that new thinking leads to new feelings, leads to new actions, leads to new results. And you know that current results and old thinking leads to scary feelings and the same old results and the same old actions and the same old results. And so it's your responsibility to think differently about where you're going. And once you know where you're going, at that point, it's your responsibility to assume the identity of a courageous person, someone who is brave, someone who can lead themselves through fear, someone who can find the courage to walk. This is what great people do. I was watching Miley Cyrus on stage the other night. I don't know what she was speaking for, but she said that. She was like, the difference between all the people up on this stage and all the people watching is that we had the courage to move anyway. We were the crazy ones who were afraid, and we found the courage to move forward anyway. That's how you become great. That's how you become great at anything. That's how you achieve anything. You move forward in courage and you say, I've got this. I've got me. I'm not afraid to feel fear. Of course, I'm going to feel fear sometimes. I'm a human. But you know what's bigger than my fear? My courage. My courage. People who let fear win stay small forever. And then they pass down that smallness to generations upon generations upon generations upon generations. Because they teach people and their family and new generations, they teach people not to make any moves because they're afraid that one little thing is going to go wrong. Guess what? Sometimes we're going to make decisions that aren't going to go the way that we thought they were going to go. And that's part of the process. That's okay. That's okay. We get feedback and we make new decisions and we keep up the courage to keep moving forward because why? Because that's our responsibility to our life, to ourselves, to the generations to come after us, to being a self-led person. So you've got to start telling yourself, I'm a courageous person. I have courage. I've walked through fear before. I've done hard things before. I've been afraid and done things anyway before. Recall a time where you've been really scared and then you did it anyway and you're like, yeah, I did that. Maybe you went skydiving or you jumped off a cliff or you I don't know, went rock climbing or whatever it is. I'm 7 months pregnant and I've been doing this finger pricking thing to measure my blood sugar so that I don't have to take this gross drink at the whatever. And I had to build up the courage 3 times a day to prick myself with a needle and take my blood. But that's what I'm willing to do because I don't want diabetes. I don't want diabetes. And so I want to monitor my health. And if I really want the outcome of a healthy baby and a healthy body and a healthy me, guess what? It's my responsibility to figure out how to do that. How do you do that? You prick yourself with a thing 3 times a day. You take your blood sugar on your own. It's 20 bucks on Amazon. You record after everything that you eat. And then you can go to the doctors and say, look, I don't have diabetes. I don't have to drink that gross, toxic, disgusting drink that you wanted me to drink full of sugar to prove to you that I don't have diabetes. Look, I proved it. Here you go. My responsibility to build up the courage to do that to myself. Learned so much about diabetes over the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You know that most people who have it, if there's like type 1, type 2, if you have the one that you get from diet, it's reversible. And you just need to learn how to order your carbs, fats, and proteins when you eat them to not spike your glucose levels. Like, it was my responsibility to learn about this. So I did. I don't know who do I ask? I don't know. Guess what? It's my responsibility to figure it out. YouTube. What is it? How do I get it? How do I monitor it? Blah, 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 blah. All the things. Done. Done. So when we have a desire for a different reality or a certain outcome, and we don't have the information of how to make that work, we need to source it. It's a privilege to learn. It's a privilege to be able to learn, guys. People are like, what? Are you a doctor? Are you a midwife? Are you this? How do you know all this stuff? Books. There's books on the internet about everything. There's this app called Audible that you can download books and you can learn literally anything about anything at any time of day, whenever you need it. There's libraries across the world that are full of knowledge and empty of people. It's a privilege to learn. It's a privilege to learn. And it's our responsibility to learn about the things that we don't understand so that we don't fear them. There's so many pregnant mamas out there who are so scared of getting gestational diabetes. And I'm like, well, if you just read a book about how it happens and you got the knowledge about how to prevent it, you probably would be fine. You probably wouldn't fear it so much. But people are not thinking. And so they're not taking new actions like reading a book or educating themselves on something that school didn't educate them on. So they remain ignorant and they remain scared and they remain in lack of motion and nothing happens, nothing changes. Learning is such a privilege and a big part of breaking generational patterns, breaking your own patterns, is education, right? It's education. Oftentimes, the only reason you are afraid of something is because you don't fully understand it. Or you've never done it before. And because you've never done it before, you don't have understanding about it. And so then it becomes your responsibility to find the information and gain the understanding about it. Bob Proctor used to say all the time, if you're going to get anything out of life, get understanding. And I was like, but I want cars and houses and planes and boats and things and clothes. If you're going to get anything out of life, get understanding. It's a privilege to learn. Become like a wizard of things that you're interested about. You're like, are you an investor now? No, not an investor. I just learned about it. Are you gonna start teaching people courses about being a mom? No, absolutely not. But I am becoming a mom, so guess what? I'm learning how to be a great mom. Are you gonna start teaching about health? Like, are you gonna take like a health program? Are you gonna become a health professional? No. But I have a body and it needs to be healthy. So it's my responsibility to learn about how to keep it healthy. So I know these things because I learned them. Do you see? It's like most people just are not thinking or educating themselves. And this is the very thing, the very process that sets apart the great people who get on and build a life that they love and the people who remain the same year after year after year after year. Gotta find the courage. You've got to have the responsibility to hold yourself accountable to the world that you want to create. Okay. The play work for this module is to have a solid meeting with yourself and ask yourself a few questions. What world do I want to create for me? What world do I want to create for me? What do I want to be my new normal? So if you look at the generational chains that you became aware of in training 1 and training 2, ask yourself, okay, that's what is. Now, what is the world that I want to create? What is it that I want to be normal for me now? I know that's been normal for my family and me for centuries, but what do I want the new normal to be? What do I want the new world to look like? Okay, part 1. Part 2 of the play work is to say, okay, where do I need to gain education? Where do I need to educate myself so that I can start gaining understanding about these things? Where do I need to educate myself? Where do I need to become more responsible? Where do I need to rise in responsibility so that I can be more courageous and take new action to really make this happen? Okay. I hope this was everything your heart needed. I thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for those of you who are on live. If you're watching the replay, hello. I hope you enjoyed. Head over to the Playwork. We have one training left in Generation Exit. It is Friday, August 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern. And I will be here, same time, same place tomorrow. If you have any questions, there will be a question thread posted in the We Rise Facebook group. So if you have any questions about any of the trainings, I'm going to post a question thread where you can comment them, and then I'm going to answer them in tomorrow's training. Until then, be well. God bless. I love you so much. Bye, guys.